Hello, hello. Welcome to the Cancer Season workshop. I'm Jenny Fitterer, and yeah, today we're going to be talking about Cancer Season and all of the main transits that are going to be happening, as well as doing a little tarot reading. I did catch the big COVID this week, so that's why this video is quite delayed, because I've just been kind of lying on a bed for a while. So today's, I might be a little brain foggy during today's workshop. I'm definitely still recovering. So I'm going to go ahead and see how we do. It might be short and sweet, or I might just, get really excited about things and keep going. So bear with me if there's any brain flubs for today's workshop. But we're just going to jump right in and get started. So the Cancer season, and all times, of course, are Pacific Standard Time, where I am located. So Cancer season starts, and again, I'm looking at my little notes in the corner here when my eyes jot off in places. So I think that should be all of the housekeeping for today. So Cancer season starts June 21st and runs till July 22nd. So that's when the sun moves from Gemini into Cancer. So Cancer themes is the archetype of the mother and all things that is under the purview of the mothering nature. So mothership, the concept of mothership is all about taking a small seed and nurturing it and tending to it, that it's very vulnerable and can't live on its own yet. So the mother is both a nurturer to grow from that infancy, that seed, into something larger, but also a protector to take care of it while it's still too weak to fend for itself. So the mother archetype is nurturer and protector. This can be, literal living things, whether human, infant, animals, can be plants, growing, nurturing, and it can also be ideas and concepts and dreams or community, anything that is, just taking something small and creating it and caring for it and then letting it go. The mother is not, a healthy mother is not in that role for the entire lifespan of the thing that is needing to be cared for. So it's a life cycle. It's a time of life cycle that then involves a release and letting go when that which is being nurtured is strong enough and entering into adulthood on its own. So it's a very kind of special window, but it's not supposed to last forever. So Cancer season is a water sign. It's the cardinal water sign. Cardinal meaning it's the initiation. It's the first sign of this season. And cardinal energy is all about starting things, starting new things. So thinking like a new birth, a new growth, a new idea, a new kind of project that requires some sort of nurturing. And it's water themes. So water is the sign of emotion and deep sensitivity. So things that we feel in our heart and that rich kind of outflowing that we have of emotions that kind of follow these currents and waves. Cancer is also associated with the moon. So the moon is this heavy feminine archetype of a mother and the changing emotions of the feminine energy. So Cancer also has this thinking of how we ebb and flow in our emotions and in our energy and in our relationships to people. We're not just a constant linear force. There are changes in season, changes in our own internal makeup and hormonal cycles, especially if you are a female bodied as well, then following different kind of cycles that we're not always at the same peak performance or energy. So Cancer season is also a time to pay attention to ebbs and flows and thinking more lunarly and seeing how that can kind of bring some awareness into the way that, we don't have to follow things in a straight line all the time. So those are some just kind of broad touch points of Cancer season in general. So that's going to be sort of seeding this whole season. But of course, not all of our planets are going to be in Cancer. So we're going to have some other energies as well. So the first main planetary transit is right at the beginning of Cancer season. So it's already happened. Is Venus moved from Taurus into Gemini. So Venus moved out of the sign where she has rulership. Venus rules over Taurus. And so that was a season that had a lot of kind of attention to the body and resources and kind of sensuality. And moving into moving into Gemini, we're moving more into the realm of thought and ideas. So Gemini is a sign of thinking and learning, and exuberance. It's the beginner, like a beginner learner, not a master, not somebody who's been learning for a very long time. There's this feeling of a student, of new ideas, new insights, and building new skills, but it's still fresh. So very beginner's mindset. So Venus, because Venus kind of shines a light on what it is we love. This can be relationally, but also just where we get excited and put our value into. So Venus is going to be helping inject excitement for new things, excitement for new ideas, finding more value in being a beginner and not putting the pressure on to be a master of all things right away. So there's like a little bit more of a like a patience that we can kind of feel with ourselves and get into the kind of giddy, like, I can make mistakes. It's okay if I don't have it all together right now. I'm just, I have a new idea and I can be excited about it, and I don't have to even turn it into anything. I can just enjoy having a new idea in my head, but I can also port that new energy into my relationships. So Venus, the planet, does like to deal with our interpersonal relationships with each other, with our friends, our family, our lovers, so Gemini has this kind of, we just came out of Gemini season from the solar perspective, so we've had a little bit more of this playful energy as well. It comes with it a little bit of mischief, and sometimes like trickster energy of wit, sarcasm, jokes, kind of practical jokes as well. So Venus is kind of like bringing in that into relationships as well. So there may be like this invitation to not take things so seriously, don't be mean. Like the tricks of Gemini isn't designed to be cruel. That's not what we're getting at. It's just to sort of take us away from our heavily serious attitude, and just inject a little bit more play and just kind of seeing the joke in things. And there's every time we make a mistake or aren't doing something the way we're supposed to, and things kind of come out a little quirky, that's an opportunity for us to see the humor in things. But there's also a tendency to then just get frustrated, which is what we're trying to stay away from. So we're going to see that more with Venus in Gemini, so that's sort of the invitation there. Anything else I want to say about Venus and Gemini? So as an air sign, Gemini is an air sign, and excuse me a little bit. Gotta get my bearings here. Gemini is all about communication. So Venus being a planet of values and relationships, there's going to be a stronger emphasis for communication and really wanting to make sure that we're including our partners, our friends, in our thoughts, and not just assuming they can read our minds, which can be something that I certainly can fall prey to, is just thinking, well, if I've thought it, shouldn't you know what I'm thinking? Instead of actually communicating, we can build up all kinds of stories on our own, and we think our interpretation of somebody else's thoughts is correct, and we think they know what we're thinking, but just really clarifying and making sure that everybody's on the same page is going to be really helpful. Venus is really going to like getting that clarification. So just a reminder, always communicate in all of your relationships, and that'll be a little bit of an extra kind of oomph this time. So that was Venus moving into Gemini June 22nd, if I didn't mention that. The next major sign is going to be Neptune going retrograde on June 28th. So Neptune is in the sign of Pisces right now, which is his home sign. So Pisces is this oceanic, dreamy sort of ocean of sensitivity and empathy and feeling the emotions of the collective and the dream space as well. This is where time and reality is not quite as linear and structural, materially real as we're used to. This is allowing to kind of play in the surreal and the dreamlike realms, is what Pisces is all about. And Neptune it's one of the planets that's further out. So Neptune does work on us individually, but it's also a social planet, and it's affecting us more on a community and collective basis. But Neptune is often about our dreams and the things that we are trying to accomplish through our visions of what could be, and viewing into the dreamland of what is not real, what could be real. And then from there, we're trying to pull that into reality. Neptune is also has this quality of dissolving and illusions. So wherever Neptune is in the collective and personally, then sometimes things get a little bit less clear. Things get a little bit kind of like, yeah, a little foggy, and there's this challenge that can feel like, oh, I'd like to have clear vision here. But sometimes with that fog, when things aren't clear, we stop for a minute and we really have to kind of suss things out instead of, all like full steam ahead. I know where I'm going. Can put you on autopilot. So when you think things are clear, you can actually really stop paying attention because you're just kind of bustling along doing what you think you should be doing. As soon as Neptune brings in this kind of dissolving thing of, oh, what's happening here? I'm not actually as clear anymore. Now we actually get a chance to stop and say, is this really valuable anymore? Like, this seems really hazy, so maybe I really actually need to take stock and see and move through things a little bit more deliberately, a chance for deliberation. And while you're then thinking about, is my pathway really what I want to be doing? Are we as a community really taking stock of each other and caring for each other the way we should? That's then where we get to pull in that Pisces energy and say, well, if I did stop doing what I was doing, what could I do? Bringing the dream back in and saying, now that I've stopped my kind of straightforward habitual motion that takes stock of things, maybe I could actually refocus on my dreams and say, what was I even doing here in the first place? Why am I on this path? Am I actually still in alignment with my vision? Do I even know what my vision is? Can I dream again and get excited about that? So that's Neptune going into retrograde here. Neptune's already been in Pisces for a while, but there's a retrograde action where the planet seems to, it's an optical illusion from Earth, but seems to go backwards in its path across the sky, brings all retrograde themes back in, which is all about reorientation and reflection and redreaming and reassessing. So this, like, stopping on the path, Neptune is already a dissolving, foggy force, and then retrograde brings in even more of a inversion and like, you shouldn't maybe be going at that straightforward pathway. So this retrograde process may feel like extra spinny, extra weird, but that's what it's supposed to be. It's only, you're only disoriented from something being kind of wobbly if you were expecting it to be a straight line. Like when you jump in the water, go swimming and swim underwater and you open your eyes, you're not expecting things to be crystal clear. You're underwater. It's a different world here. You're expecting light to refract. You're expecting things to look different, things to move a bit slower. And so that's normal. And that now you get to experience what it's like in this underwater world. If you were above land and dry and everything got weird, then you'd be concerned. But you're in the right scenario for things to be distorted and strange. And so if you just remember and try to think, this is actually normal. This is what this energy is supposed to feel like during this retrograde period. Remembering, like, we're all just kind of dunked underwater right now. Then that can give you, it can calm a lot of anxiety to feel like, oh my God, why do I feel so spacey? Am I unwell? And it can also give you a lot of patience to think, man, I really thought I had a better head on my shoulders than this. Why am I so spacey? Why can't I get a sense of hold on to my vision? That's fine. That's what this period is supposed to be like. And take that opportunity to learn what you can learn in the underwater world instead. So I think I'll leave it with that. Retrogrades, and you can kind of go on them forever, so I'm just going to keep it brief. So that's the Neptune retrograde in Pisces. That's on June 28th. So the next transit is then Mars. Planet Mars has been in Aries for a while in his home sign, feeling really fiery and aggressive there, and is going to be moving into Taurus now. So Taurus is a fixed earth sign. It's very grounded. excuse me, very, very stable. So Mars has been raring to go in his fire sign of Aries. He's been getting an injection of fresh energy and enthusiasm and sense of ego and self to say, oh, right, this is what my inspiration and drive is. And dropping into Taurus, there's a slowdown, a way slow down. Instead of like, I've got this new strength and I'm going to go fight. It's like, wait, do I have the resources? Let's talk about resources. How does my body feel? I've got this new energy, but I don't want to burn out. I don't want to have that Aries spark flash out and then burn without any resources to keep the fire going. So Mars in Taurus says, okay, Mars, it's a planet of action, wanting to move forward on plans, is also a warrior planet, wanting to be the protector of values. So Mars in Aries season, we got an idea of a little bit better sense of self and our ego and what we want to do for ourselves. That's the action part. And if we've been paying attention to our values, Venus has been guiding us to our values, that's going to be what we're going to want to protect. So now Mars in Taurus gets to say, what are my resources? How can I gather the things that I need in order to move forward with action on the things that I want? And how can I protect the things that I value? Do I feel safe and comfortable? Do I feel like I need to be up in arms? Or is anybody actually coming and attacking the things that I need? Do I need to be picking a fight? Maybe I'm actually pretty good. Taurus has an energy, is the sign of the bull. And the bull is very, very stubborn, very solid. So Taurus is, as Mars in Taurus, as a warrior, is like the shield bearer, the defender. They are not necessarily going forth and combating people and finding enemies to fight and being aggressive out. They are solid in their stance to protect home and their values. So Mars is in a more defensive state, which means you're taking stock at home. You really want to make sure that when you're being defensive, that it's productive. You want to make sure that you don't just get like aggressively defensive. Is that the paradox? Unnecessarily defensive. By perceived attack, you want to make sure that you are actually aware of when you are actually under threat and when it's just, your thought or your ego or your insecurities getting in the way. You don't need to have Mars jump up so stubbornly all the time. It does take a little bit of discernment. So Mars being in Taurus being a body earth sign, it's a helpful cue is just to see, how do you feel in your physical body when you're talking to somebody? Do you feel like somebody is trying to get up in your space? Does it feel it in your body, or is it kind of your ego just like wanting to be defensive there? So your body gives a lot of wisdom about whether you feel safe or whether you need to protect yourself. So if you can hone back into your body, with your Mars energy, so if that's on topics of action and protection, that's going to help avoid like unnecessary clashes. So that's July 4th. Settling into that Earth energy with our Mars planet. Next we have Mercury is moving into Cancer, out of Gemini, on July 4th as well. So Mars and Mercury are pretty close, or are going to be moving on the same day. So July 4th, Mercury is in Cancer, so joining the Sun, which means our thoughts, our mental action, Mercury is the planet of thought, is going to now be moving kind of into the heart space and into the home space, into Cancer themes. So that means we might be, wanting to communicate our emotions a little bit more. We're going to be feeling a lot, and Mercury is saying, let's talk about what we feel. This is actually a really, really great combo, because sometimes it can be really hard to connect our emotions to our voice and to really share what we're feeling. And instead just kind of getting bottled up or overwhelmed with our emotions. So Mercury in Cancer is like, let's talk about our feelings, and let's also communicate about the things, about Cancer themes. So like we said, things that we might want to nurture and mother and take care of, things that we want to feel safe in our safe home space. Communication in the home. Cancer is, as it rules the mother, it rules the home space. And so if there's been things that are in your home environment that you maybe need to talk about, maybe you're not feeling super safe or comfortable, or you've just got a few things that are kind of being swept under the rug or kind of bitterness, then this might be a really great time to start talking and communicating with people in your home space to try to make it feel more comfortable, instead of just we want to make sure this is in a healthy way. You don't just want to bottle up your emotions and then when they all come out, you just scream and yell at people and like dump your emotions. That's not super healthy communication. But yeah, when Mercury moves into Cancer, then we just have a little bit more of a chance to connect that heart and emotions to our voice. So that's the suggestion there. Then we have Venus is going to be moving into Cancer as well, joining Mercury and the Sun on July 17th. So Venus, again, that planet of values and relationships, is moving into Cancer, moving into the themes of home again. And so this is really going to stack on what we just said with Mercury in terms of wanting to bring harmony into our relationships at home. Venus is focusing on our relationships. We've just been communicating our feelings, communicating about what we need at home, and we're just going to get an extra dose of that as Venus wants to harmonize our relationships in the home and make sure that our home is feeling like a safe and a healthy place to engage relationally, whether that's with a lover, whether that's with family, whether that's with a mother figure as well. Really focusing in on relationships to the mother in this season, whether that's a strange topic, whether that's a healthy one, whether it could be more healthy. We're just going to have a little bit of an extra kind of emphasis when Venus moves in to Cancer. A little component as well, Venus ruling, having values also has a connection to our money as well. So there may be more themes around finances in the house as well, whether, again, to deal with a mother figure or just the home space. What your financial situation is like in the home, whether more money needs to be put into a home project might be coming up. So again, while Mercury's in Cancer and Venus is in Cancer, we might also be needing to communicate about money and financial topics to do with the home space or to do with nurturing as well. This could be childcare, just all things to do with finance in the nurturing space, in the home space, is probably going to be coming up this summer as well. So all things considered, be aware that may be a bit of an emotional, there's potential for emotional events there, especially while Neptune's in retrograde and we're sort of feeling like a little confused. With, we've got a global recession coming into a depression right now. So money topics might be stressful, might induce a lot of fear. So we're just going to try to be calm, trying to remember that we are, ideally the people in your household are a part of a team. So not trying to fight with each other, but trying to build a situation that's comfortable and safe for everybody. So just try to breathe through any of those emotions that may come up on money topics. I think we'll leave it with that for Venus and Cancer. The next transit, there's a lot going on this Cancer, a lot of planets happening. So Mercury, again, is a quick moving planet. So Mercury is going to be out of Cancer and into Leo on July 19th. He's really quickly in Cancer. So Mercury is going to be in Leo now. Leo is the planet that's related to the sun, Leo is the sign that is related to the sun. And Leo is all about that, like brightness, being open and seen and visible. Like the sun shines on and illuminates the world. Leo is shining on those that Leo sees and also likes to be basked in and have the spotlight, the sun shine on them as well. So Mercury in Leo is going to connect our desire to communicate with the heart of what we like to create. Leo is a deeply creative sign and is all about expression, wanting to express from the heart, wanting to express that which they care about and think about. So Mercury in Leo is like extra expression. There's going to really be a feeling of, not wanting to keep things held down, and really wanting to be seen and wanting to be heard. So especially coming from Cancer, Mercury in Cancer, Cancer has this, is the sign of the crab and has this shell that they can retreat into. So if Mercury was feeling like all those feelings and was trying to communicate them, now coming into Leo brings this brighter force and a little bit of a vibrant energy that's coming out of what may have felt like introversion in Cancer season and saying, I'm back, I've got lots of things I'd like to share and I'd really like to communicate with them. So there might be feeling like a bit more networking, a desire to be thinking and communicating with others in order to bring your expression forward. So that, yeah, is going to be July 19th, kind of midsummer here. Well, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, summer is fully underway. Otherwise, if you're in the South, this will be still a winter experience, but that rich expression can still come forth and warm you in that season. So that's going to be Mercury in Leo. Then the last major transit to talk about is Chiron is going retrograde July 19th as well. So Chiron right now is in the sign of Aries. And so Aries, again, that's fire, a spark of new identity and ego, the warrior protector as well. And Chiron, I don't think we've talked that much about Chiron. Chiron's a very slow-moving comet. And Chiron is known as the wounded healer. But what Chiron is all about, it's like the sacred wound that becomes your mission and gift in the world. So we all have, things that we struggle with and we feel hurt by or challenged by, but usually we have like a deep core wound. Like there's something that it's our really deepest insecurity, or it's our biggest fear, it's our biggest challenge. Maybe we feel, and it can be personal, but it can also be in how we relate to others. Like it could be a deep feeling of mistrust, of feeling like you're betrayed no matter where you turn, and you always have a core issue of not feeling like you can trust people. Or somebody's core wound might be feeling like they're never noticed, ever. No matter where they go, they're glanced over, they're forgotten, and so they never want to step into the world because they feel like it doesn't matter, they're not going to be seen, or they have a little dream and they just feel like no one will ever notice. And these are wounds that are more than just, oh, it's a bad day and I didn't feel that way. Chiron wounds are deep, deep in the soul. And so the healing of that wound is a journey that is across our entire lives. And it can be a very, very core part of the narrative of our lives. And transforming that wound and trying to heal from it is often then, as you go through that journey, it becomes a way in which you can connect with others who have a similar wound and help them. Because as you have learned and traversed through that hurt yourself, you become a master of it, and you become a master of healing it. And then through that mastery and the compassion that you have through the experience of the pain of a Chiron wound, that compassion drives you to see others who share it and to help them and to heal as well. Help them to heal. And that is the way in which that wound then circles out into the community as a positive force. So Chiron, working with the Comet Chiron, is something that is, maybe I'll cover that in a specific workshop, but just in general right now, Chiron has been in Aries for quite a while. And since Aries has to do with our ego, our identity, our sense of self, a lot of us have been undergoing this sense of perhaps an identity crisis, as Chiron is in Aries and shaking and wounding the very sense of what it means to be me, to be a person. What is it that I can even bring to the world? And also the sense of the warrior, the person, the one who wants to fight. Chiron and Aries might make you feel impotent, like that no matter what you do, the powers that be or the evils that are out there always win. The wounded warrior of I want to fight and I don't feel like I'm effective. All of that has been themes that have been overarching for the collective. For specific people who have Chiron and Aries right now, this has been very, very potent for sure. But we're all feeling a little bit of it and have been for a little while. So Chiron's been in Aries already and is going to be going retrograde on the 19th, which means we have another chance to turn inward to look at this wound and to see where we are in the healing journey. Some of us will be very, very fresh. This may be a first time of feeling an identity crisis, the first time of feeling that unsure of who I am or unsure that who I am is going to be welcomed in the world. Others, we might be on this for a long time, and some of you have really been working on that wound of self, and now you're maybe at the point of knowing who you are and wanting to step forward in that compassionate healer role to say, maybe I can help those other people who are struggling with their sense of identity and are struggling with their own Chiron wound. So we're all going to be on different paths here, but as Chiron goes retrograde, all of those retrograde themes come back. Reflection, rest, reorientation, taking a time to say, okay, how much have I healed? Is that wound still coming up? What can I do to be kind to myself? What is it that I need to center in to be grounded in my sense of self? Have I been doing, a little bit too much of other people's projects, or following the desires of dreams of other people, and I haven't focused in on my own for a while, and I'm losing my sense of myself, of my own inspiration? This is a time to really, think about that, rest about it, and to understand if you feel that impotence, especially in the inner warrior, that's going to be part of that retrograde feeling, that feeling of what I'm doing directly. If I try to go in direct action, it feels like it's not working. So it might be that time for that warrior, instead of being the time to charge out for battle, is the time to rest, strategize, network with others, and say, who else is fighting the fight you're fighting? Who else is connected to your the social justice things that matter to you, to the things that are happening in the world that you see as wrong, and you feel like you're too small and alone to fight on your own? Retrograde's a great time to see who's interested in the same thing, who sees injustice where I do. Can we network? Can we fight together? Can we build this army of enlightened warriors that really want to help and save the day here, instead of just fighting all by ourselves? So that's sort of the invitation through the retrograde, when Chiron goes retrograde on the 19th. Oh man, that's a lot of talking for me. The only other things I'll mention just getting my water here, for the transits is again the new moon and full moon dates. So the new moon in Cancer is June the 28th, and then the full moon will be in Capricorn on July 13th. So those will be the lunar dates that are relevant there. So that's it for the transits. That's a lot going on this month. So I'll take this time before I move into tarot to just mention that, again, I am working and living and breathing on the lands of the Lekwungen speaking nations, Esquimalt and Songhees nations, in Victoria, BC. And I just want to acknowledge again that I have the joy and the privilege of being able to rest and heal while I'm sick right now, in this land that is so beautiful and has been taken care of for a very long time, until settlers came and took away the rights of those who lived here, to tend to the land themselves. So just acknowledging that, and in thanks as well. So I'm going to now do a little tarot reading here. We'll see again if this is short and sweet, or if I'm just going to keep going as I seem to be. So we're just going to pull a single card for Cancer season. So this is a collective reading. I'm going to hopefully get the July tarot readings up if I am feeling well enough to record them. They might be a little bit delayed, but hopefully they will be up on my YouTube channel as well to supplement this. But this is a collective reading for Cancer season. And we're just going to see what comes up here. I'm going to throw those all on the ground. That's too many. Give me a minute. Cool. One, that works better. Here we go. So Cancer season, we have the Chariot reversed. So this is the way he looks the right way up. So we have, it's lots of kind of dark imagery here. We have this figure. He's standing on this chariot, and he could be facing away or forward. You can't really see him. There's these little flames in threes in his head, his chest, and his torso here. And then this chariot is all adorned with a bunch of kind of metal and jewels. And then we have this sphinx kind of at the bottom, and maybe a cat, but it's very, very distinct or indistinct. And then we have a bunch of flames and fire up around the top there. And it came out upside down like that. Okay, so we'll just take a look at what the chariot has to say for us today. Okay, the chariot. Chart your own course. The chariot stands for experiencing and developing one's own personality, which has two aspects: deliberate choice on the one hand, and the forces of the unconscious on the other. The Sphinx represents the mysteries of life, while the fiery ring stands for ordeals of fire, probably also hinting at burning ambition and fiery commitment. The large central figure has its back to the viewer. One should pay careful attention to one's other side and explore one's true face and profile. The 3 red flames blazing in front of the head, chest, and abdomen of the central figure represent energy centers and the 3 levels of body, mind, and soul that make up the personality. This card symbolizes the way of desire, which is the path towards fulfillment of sensible desires and the ability to let go of unfounded fears. Everything you do on the way is worth your while, even if it requires a lot of effort or apparent detours. And even the greatest achievements mean nothing if they do not help you on your way of desire. As wisely coined in the phrase, the journey is its own reward. In many other contexts, the difference between journey and destination is of the utmost importance. Practical advice. Assume full responsibility for the shaping of your life path. You cannot get off the chariot nor relinquish your own karma, but you can strike out in a new direction. The right attitude helps you accept and develop the positive aspects you encounter, but also empowers you to avoid and let go, or alternatively, to integrate and master the bad. Accept the light and the shadows, and turn your darkest fears into golden opportunities and self-fulfillment. Okay, so I'm going to sort of feel in a couple things with this one. This one feels like it's more speaking to the retrogrades in some capacity here. The chariot is often the typical version of the chariot is a man on a chariot and then 2 horses that are pulling in other directions. So it's this feeling of your team is wanting to go different directions, and in order for the chariot to move forward in any orderly fashion, you need to either pick one direction, or you need to be able to really rein in and control those desires that want to go every which way so that you can go in a straight path. So there's very much that feeling of choice and needing to chart your own course, but it also is showing that there's deliberate action being needed. This is not a passive, I can just sit on the chariot and let my horses go wherever and just kind of like ride life. There's a need to be strong and know where you want to go and what you want to do, because it takes effort to corral these horses, or you need to make a choice to know which way to go. So this is really showing that we need to not be passive, but the fact that the card came out reversed is also showing us that we're not really that clear yet on what direction we want to go. So this card talking about the way of desire is really showing that if we're unsure which direction we're going, we're not really clear on our values and what we want. So we're really needing to hone in on our desires and figure them out. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to take action and take control of those forces of those horses that are going to pull us in different directions. So this season is really saying hone in on your values, because things are not clear. Those retrogrades are happening. Neptune in retrograde means we're not totally clear about our dreams. Chiron in retrograde is showing we're not even totally sure who we are. So we don't just want to go off on autopilot. We really need to get a sense of who am I and what is it that I want? And what are my values and that make me feel safe? What am I trying to grow and nurture in this Cancer season? What my values and my desires are going to show what I'm trying to grow and build, and then what I need to move towards in order for that to happen. So this card is really suggesting this season requires a lot of reflection and that inner work. And I'm really not going to harp on that much. I'm actually just going to leave that to be quite simple. It's just, who are you and what do you want? Quite simple, not a hard task at all. So that's the invitation, is before you take massive action, those questions are things you need to ponder. That doesn't mean you have to have an answer. Knowing who you are and knowing what you want isn't something you check off once and you never have to do again. It's things you are always, it's a mind frame more. It's a meditative practice to always be trying to think in your day to day and in your as you're moving through life, is this really in alignment with who I am or who I want to be? Is this really going to be helping me achieve my dreams and my desires? And correct course. Work on bringing in those horses so that you know that in general, you're not always going to be on the straight and narrow. You're going to go off the path every so often, but in general, you have at least a bit of a sense that yes, what I'm doing and where I'm going is in line with what I want, which is in line with who I am. So I'm going to leave you with that. I made it. I'm going to sign up and take a break and have another nap. So thank you so much for being here with this Cancer season forecast. I hope this was helpful for you. This is a pay what you can workshop, so the link to donate to my PayPal is going to be in the comments or in the description section below. Really appreciate all donations and support, which helps me be able to create more content for you guys. And thank you for bearing with me on the delay of putting this video up because of my recovery. So thank you and take care, and best luck to you all this Cancer season.